Buenas and half a day, everyone. Good afternoon. This virtual public hearing by the Committee on Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens is hereby called to order. Today is Friday, July 16, 2021, and the time now is 1:03 p.m. For the record, and in accordance with open government law, notices for this hearing were sent out on July 9th, 2021, and again on July 14th, 2021. In addition, this hearing was noticed on the Guam Legislature website. Joining me this afternoon, I'd like to thank my colleagues, Speaker Terlaje, Senator Telena Cruz Nelson, Senator Tony Atta, Senator Telotidegui, and Senator Joanne Brown. Seduas Masi, colleagues, for being here today. I'd also like to recognize the President of the Mayor's Council of Guam, Mayor Jesse Allig. Welcome. And the Chairman of the Guam Visitors Bureau Board, Mr. Milton Moranaga Hafade. And of course, our nominee, our Mayor Rudy Paco from the village of MTM. Thank you very much, Mayor, for being here.
You're very welcome, ma'am.
Before we begin with the discussion, I'd like to first provide some general rules of conduct for all those in attendance. The conduct of the hearing will be as follows. 1, all must abide by the rules and conduct and quality assurance standards. Please keep your video on at all times and ensure you are in a room with little interruptions and adequate lighting, specifically to make sure the participant's face is visible at all times. When speaking, please ensure that you are unmuted and that you are speaking into the microphone. The chair will invite individuals who have signed up to testify to speak. Individuals testifying shall first be recognized by the chair and state their name for record purposes. The order of questioning will begin with the panel of senators who shall complete their lines of questioning for each respective agenda item. Each member will be allowed to pose questions to an individual testifying for a round, and then we can proceed with another round if necessary. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the substance and nature of the agenda. Personal inference as to the character or motive of any senator or individual testifying is not permitted. Any violations of this general rule of conduct will result in removal from the meeting room. We will now continue on with the items on our agenda. First is the appointment of the Honorable Rudy A. Paco to serve as member, the Mayor's Council representative of the Guam Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. The Guam Visitors Bureau Act, encoded in Article 1, Chapter 9, Title 12 of the Guam Code Annotated, provides that the exercise of the powers of the Bureau shall be directed by the Board of Directors composed of 12 members, one of whom shall be a mayor or vice mayor selected by the Commissioners' Council and appointed by the governor with the advice and consent of the legislature. The board's duties include, among others, promoting visitor satisfaction, encouraging job opportunities in the tourism industry, assisting in the development of facilities and attractions, collecting and analyzing data on the industry, providing advice and assistance to tourism development organizations. At this time, I'd like to first invite individuals who have signed up to testify on Mayor Paco's confirmation. Then we will hear from the nominee himself. Again, please state your name for the record before you begin your testimony. I'd like to begin with the Mayor's Council of Guam President, Mayor Jesse Allig.
Day Senators, my name is Jesse Allig. I'm the mayor of the beautiful village of PT and the president of the Mayor's Council of Guam. And I would like to testify in support of Mayor Rudy Paco's nomination to the Guam Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. And just some background information. On February 3rd, we had our regular meeting of the Mayor's Council of Guam. And there were 3 members of our council that were interested in representing the Mayor's Council in the GVB board. And so to be fair and transparent, I decided to call for a vote, and Mayor Paco received a majority vote of the membership present at that meeting. And so we are here today because of that. I want to say that I have worked with Mayor Paco since January 2017 when I began my first term as mayor. And if there was one word to describe Mayor Paco, it would be tenacious. Tenacious because he is passionate about doing things right. He's always concerned about the people around him and the situations that might arise. I believe he is a thoughtful and discerning person. And as rough around the edges as he might seem, he is a compassionate leader. And his concern really for our island and the welfare of our people is just unrelenting. And because of these qualities, Mayor Paco will represent the Mayor's Council of Guam with the utmost integrity. And I ask the good senators of the 36th Guam legislature to confirm his appointment to the Board of Directors of the Guam Visitors Bureau. Sizus Masi.
Sizus Masi, Mayor, thank you very much. And now the GVB Chairman, Mr. Milton Morinaga.
Thank you very much. I'll just wanted to make a very short remark since everybody, the president of Mayor Council has said a lot of good things about him. As a board chairman of GBB, and knowing him for a short while, I could gather that he's trustworthy, responsible individual, and he takes ownership of all the projects that he has initiated. And I have a very high respect, and other boards do the same thing, that we do have a high respect of his knowledge and his integrity. And the thing is that like the board is looking forward to working with him, and would like the senators to confirm his nomination. And that's the extent I mean, there's nothing much I can say, that he's the man that can represent the mayors. And I think he is worthwhile to be a part of the board members and contribute the projects that he can contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morinaga. I know we had Dr. Nguyen and Mr. Angel Sablan, the Executive Director of the Mayor's Council of Guam, who have signed up to testify. I don't see them on the Zoom yet. So Mayor Paco, we will move to you, and if they log on, we'll allow them to testify in a little bit. So Mayor Paco, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Senators. Thank you for taking the time for this confirmation hearing. And I also would like to express my gratitude to Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, Lieutenant Governor Tenorio, and my colleagues at the Mayor's Council of Guam for this appointment. For those who don't know me, I'm Rudy Paco. I'm a mayor of Mongmong-Totumaiti, now serving my second term. I was born and raised in Mongmong-Totumaiti, and I'm a retired federal fire department. After 25 years of service, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to give back to the community. As a mayor, I made it my mission to build partnership, and I started with my neighbors. In my time in office, I established our Tri-Village first ever neighborhood watch program. Our network is 250 members strong. We have a daytime and nighttime patrol, and by working together, we are safer. In my office, I've improved our community facilities by partnering with private sectors. We renovated our MTM Community Center, enhanced the Toto baseball field by installing lights. Because we have limited fitness facilities, I again partnered with private sectors to create a quarter-mile walk around, which is used by joggers and walkers. In my time in office, I have improved roadways and safety by partnering with Department of Public Works. Reflectors and stripings, widened roads, and laid non-skid resurfacing on slippery streets. By partnering with Guam Power Authority, we installed over a dozen street lights. Partnering with Guam Water Works, we installed fire hydrants with reflective marking. And because I'm a former first responder, I also made my staff position reflector tapes on street signs for quicker response times of emergencies. As you can see, I love my community. I work well with others, and I get the job done. And I do so through partnership. While I haven't been confirmed by the board yet, I'm already getting acquainted with Guam Visitors Brewer and the missions. I'm especially interested in keeping our island beautiful for not just visitors, but for all those who call Guam home. And thank you for your time and your consideration.
Sidious Masi Mayor, thank you very much for your testimony. I am happy to hear of your willingness to serve. I want to congratulate you on being selected by your peers and of course, then nominated by the governor. And I look forward to confirming you here in the legislature. I think what you said about, your willingness to partner with others and work with others is very important, and you'll bring that same spirit to the Guam Visitors Bureau. And I've seen firsthand how you are such a go-getter, really a problem solver for the issues that you've faced in your village. You've been innovative to solve these problems, and I've seen firsthand the progress that you've made. I've visited some of the places in your village, and I'm very impressed by the work you've done in the short amount of time you've been the mayor. So I know that you will bring all of that to the Visitors Bureau and work just as hard there. And as you said, not just for the visitors, but to keep Guam beautiful and thriving for our local community as well. I think there's a lot to be done. I appreciate that. Now I'd like to open the floor to my colleagues if they have any questions. Speaker Therese. Oh, I'm sorry. Before you begin, Speaker, we do have the Executive Director from the Mayor's Council of Guam, Mr. Angel Sablan. Mr. Sablan, if you'd like to give your testimony.
Hi, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon to provide input and support to, I believe, one of the hardest working mayors on our island, and that's Mayor Rudy Paco. I have known him for a little bit over 5 years now, and he's always amazed me. A very humble man, but someone that takes his work very seriously. He has turned MTM around in just a short time, the first term that he was there. And I'm sure that as the desired appointee of the Mayor's Council of Guam and appointed by the governor to represent MCOG and our people, that he will carry forth and do what needs to be done. He's a very determined man. Mayor Paco may be shy, maybe not the person that you'll hear from all the time, but when he has a task at hand, when he has a mission that he wants to fulfill, he's going to hit that target. He's going to hit that target because bottom line is he wants to help our people. And as our representative, he feels the pulse of our 18 other mayors and our 7 vice mayors and the people of Guam. And I'm sure that our president, President Alec, would agree with me that we picked a very fine man to represent us in the Guam Visitors Bureau. Your other representative for many, many years, Mayor Robert Hoffman, did a fantastic job too as a director for Guam Visitors Bureau. Mayor Hoffman did fantastic work, but we look forward to Mayor Paco doing even more for the Guam Visitors Bureau. Even now, when he's not yet a confirmed director, he has been out there helping in Tuman, sprucing it up with his personnel to make sure that our island is ready for the return of our tourists. We believe that Mayor Paco will do us good, and we believe that he will do the Guam Visitors Bureau good. And we have no doubt that he will represent us well and carry forth the mission of GBB. So I ask all of you, my dear senators and friends, to fully support him as we in the council fully support him to be the next director of the Guam Visitors Bureau. I thank you so much. Thank you so much for hearing us out and for supporting not just a personal friend, but a colleague of ours at the Mayor's Council of Guam.
Kaduas Masi, Mr. Sablan. Now, Speaker Therese, if you have any questions for the panel or for the nominee.
Yes, half a day, Mayor Paco and Mayor Alec, and of course, Director Sablan and Chairman Morinaga, and all my colleagues. Congratulations, Mayor, on your election and appointment to this position. It's very exciting, I guess, that you're new on this and that just it opens it up for some changes. And I just wanted to ask you, you said earlier one of your goals, but I was going to ask you your goals on the board. Is there anything different that you want GVB to be doing in regards, more relative to the villages or just in tourism in general that you think is going to impact? And you said keeping the island beautiful for all of its residents and visitors. Are there any other priorities, I guess, that you would have there at GVB?
Yes,
Mayor
ma'am. I look at the Sagan Amut, where the old Guam Memorial Hospital used to be at. They have the Sagan Amut or Sagan Amti, where they make tomorrow medicines. They have arts and crafts up there as well. We should just expand that and enhance that place so we can use it as a tourist attraction so that we can show our visitors that these are what tomorrow's people are taking besides Tylenol and Advil. They have a beautiful hot new there. I was really, really impressed during first back. When I went up there and I saw what they had and I said, man, we're sitting in a gold mine and we're not showing the beauty of this Sagan Amut. They had a hot new. We can show our visitors how the local people use the hot new to bake and to cook, and at the same time serve our visitors and make them try our local dish. Another idea that I would love to see, and this is either a dream or a fantasy, I like to see a farmer's market being built down in Agutnia, across the Agutnia mayor's office. Instead of using it as a green waste dump site, we should clean it up and beautify that area. We clean the riverside. We can have a river raft boat that would take our visitors and at the same time have their lunch. But let's showcase our culture to our visitors, because they're not here to eat sashimi or local food. I mean, their kind of food. We are here to show off what we have to represent on our culture.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I like those ideas, and so I'm willing to support you in those efforts. I think that's the original intention of the Sagan Cultura tomorrow, and allowing them to use the land up there is exactly that. And so I'm happy they highlighted it during FestPac, but I'm sure with the mayor's help, it can really also be enhanced, right? And like you said, and with GVB's help, absolutely get visitors there and really get it to be what it was meant to be.
And when you look at it in reality, Senator, sorry for intruding,
Yeah.
but it's walking distance for the tourists.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
walking distance.
That's right. You're right. So, and I agree. And even Hagåtña, there's long been talk about restoring a farmer's market in Hagåtña. They tried to do it over at the Chamorro Village, but yeah, I'll support any efforts for additional farmers markets and yeah, use of land other than for green waste facilities. I think we need to focus where we're going to be.
We have the ample parking at the swimming pool.
The GVB does a lot of its work by committee. Are you serving on any of the committees?
Yes, ma'am. I'm serving in the destination management, visitors, and safety satisfaction.
Sounds perfect. Okay, so the destination management is what my understanding is the committee where we talk about, how are we going to use destination funds to enhance our, public bathrooms is always a big question, right, at the parks, and then how to get this money to the villages. Yeah. So do you feel like with your experience so far that GVB is being responsive to ensuring that, tourism and the benefits of tourism are reaching the villages and not just being focused in Tumon?
Well, that's the whole purpose of me being in the board as a mayor, where I can reach out to GVB and listen to the mayor's cry for help or their requests.
Right. So, I guess, are you confident that you're going to be able to advocate for that? Because sometimes those guys are tough, right, Mr. Morinaga? Just joking. But you're going to have to, it's almost compete, right, for that type of attention, that type of focus, that type of funding. And I think really do it for all of us, for all the people in our villages who really want to see that, keep them focused on that. We're depending on you. I know in the past that they've supported sometimes the festivals, right? Maybe not evenly across the board. So I'm not sure what the mayors are going to focus on, if it's festivals or other things, but the mayors have been coming up with some great, I think, activities in the villages for both residents and visitors. So I hope that, we can get GVB to also focus on those things. I just going to put in a plug for one thing that I'm hoping they're also going to focus on is so we tried to spruce up our parks, right? Our beaches, and especially the ones that we have public restrooms at, and make sure that those are safe, visitor safety with these safety officers at the different places. But we also have these historic sites, and just like the, showing off the culture at, Sagan Cultura and those types of places, I really want GVB to focus on, our historic sites, keeping them also safe and improved and highlighted so that our visitors can see that our history goes back 4,000 years. And I really want them to know that when they leave here. Not that we just have beautiful beaches, but that we have a culture that goes back 4,000 years. So
exactly, we want them to go and spread the word out.
Yes.
So that
all right,
we can bring more tourists into our island.
Yes. So Situs Masi, Mayor, for your service on this board, and I support you, and let me know if there's any other way that we can help. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Masi.
Just Masi, Madam Speaker. Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hafa Day, Mayor Rudy. First of all, I'd like to thank you for accepting this nomination. I believe that you are the perfect fit for this position, and I look forward to seeing the great work that you've come up with GVB. So thank you again, and looking forward to seeing you. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. Senator Ada.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mayor Rudy, congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you,
I continue to, like your ideas of taking tourism out of Tumon, and just like you wanted to do something in Aganya, the president of the Mayor's Council, Mayor Alec, has some wonderful historic sites down there in PD as well that perhaps can be turned into, a nice little tourist destination, with seeing the PD guns and everything else. Fresh ideas going into the Guam Visitors Bureau is going to be needed, especially in this upcoming months as we try to revigorate our visitor industry and what it's going to take to bring tourists back to our island. And I think you said it right out there, is that, they come here to see what our local community is about. They come out here to see what is it about Guam, the food, the culture, the historic sites, and all those things. And I think having you there on the board is going to shift that paradigm to where, you know, we're going to start looking at these things, and we're going to start building upon, you know, continuing to take the tourists out of Tumon. Tumon's beautiful, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to have those tourists that want to stay there. But I think a lot of the tourists that come in are going to want to come out and see what the island is about, and how do we, you know, regenerate that enthusiasm about coming to Guam. And Mayor Paco, you know, you got some ideas that I hope that you'll be able to share with your fellow board members, and bring those things to light, and make it happen. You have my full support, Mayor, and I hope to see your nomination on our next session agenda for voting. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Situs Masi, Senator Ada, Senator Taitui.
Situs Masi, Madam Chair, for the opportunity. And well, Rudy, we all know that this position that you're taking is like the most sought out appointment that most mayors want to have. I know a few other mayors who would like to have this opportunity to sit on the board. And for me, I'm just really happy that there is a change. And granted, yes, you know, Mayor Hoffman was on there for quite some time, but I think we need some change and new ideas, you know, to bring forth. And I think the mayors have chosen the right person to sit in that position, which is yourself. I know you on a professional level and what you've done for your village, as well as the Mayor's Council, but I also know you on a personal level. Had the opportunity many times to have dinner with you and to hear your perspective. And one thing's for sure is you're very enthusiastic. You know, you're one of those get up and go getter, but you do it with a very easy to talk to type of person. And definitely, I think you'll bring that binding, the bond that needs to be put together at GVB with what the public, and listening to what the public wants versus all those who are sitting on the board that are not outside of Tumon, but seem to be concentrating solely in Tumon. You know, when I was a deputy general manager at the Guam Visitors Bureau, I oversaw destination management, that particular committee as well. And it does a lot of work with the community, the culture. And I think that's probably like 80% of what GVB needs to look at and increase its awareness on on who we are as an island. And so I greatly appreciate that. I know that you also have within your grasp, you know, the opportunity to ask for assistance when you need it. And so that's a good thing. And I also too, like the speaker, say that if you anything I can do to help you to improve, anything we can do to improve what you're going to do or help you what you're going to do, please, you have my cell number.
Yes,
and don't be afraid to reach out. Okay.
I'll be much obliged to work with you all.
Okay. Good luck to you, and you have my support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Taitagui. Senator Brown.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and certainly good afternoon to you. It's refreshing to hear your testimony and certainly your response to the questions that Speaker Terlaje had. I certainly look forward to your service on the GVB board. I think you get a general sentiment of our feelings of wanting to see our visitor industry more interfaced with our local community and having that brand, that Guam brand that is truly representative of the history and the culture and the beauty of our island. I mean, you know, we recall the time back in the early 70s, the 80s, when the standard here on Guam in the tourism industry was trying to replicate the Hawaii experience. And, you know, we were in the elevators and in the lobbies and we hear the Hawaiian music and the tiki gods and things that were being sold to our tourists that were not representative of our Guam culture. And I think we very much want to see Guam to be that unique experience. And I gauge certainly from the history of the responses on surveys to our tourists that they want to see that. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity with your presence on the GBB board to expand that. And the opportunity also economically for our people that have expertise in this area, be it in the cultural side, the artistic side, to actually be part of the benefits of our tourism industry, because having that and contributing to the economy where our people that have these expertise actually can financially make a living doing it will help continue to allow our culture, our language, and everything that comes with it to sustain over a longer period of time in the future. And I wanted to get I heard your comments about perhaps, putting the farmers market here in Agana and expanding that local experience. But how do you think we can further get more of our local people engaged with the visitor industry and providing that Guam brand that we'd like to see more of? I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, when you look at it in reality, Clifford Guzman and Monica Guzman has this program called GUMA, where they can go out, where they have some grant funds for all our talented local people to show off their talents, like what they normally say. Tamaria makes good guzaria. Tunwan and his family makes good empanada. So then those people will get involved with that GUMA group, because the GUMA group has a grant that will finance our local people to show off their talents. And I push to my community that come out with your talents and join this program, because they're going to help you.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And I know we all know Monica and Clifford and certainly their commitment to our local culture. So I wish you well. I'm sure you will do well with regards to your present and your engagement of being able to bridge an even stronger relationship between our tourism industry and our local community, especially as we discussed, just putting that Guam brand that's unique to our island and a benefit to our visitors, so that they actually have something more than just the sell that they're getting of, oh, we're going to a tropical island, but a tropical island with a unique history and a unique culture. And more importantly, because I think in order for these qualities and the knowledge to move forward for our people, having it being something that's also economically viable for those that invest in it, will continue to keep our culture alive, where our people actually can pursue their passion and actually make a living doing it and provide a quality product to our visitors. Because it's in the past, they've been shortchanged with that whole, the presentation that's been made of what we think our visitors want to see in coming to an island versus you're coming to Guam and this is the unique Guam experience that we'd like to share with them. Like I said, even our food. And those that have the expertise in providing that quality. We all know, where do you get the best gujaria? Where do you get the best empanada? And having that be part of their experience, then we're not shortchanging them, and we're allowing an opportunity for our people to be economically viable and sustainable to continue these practices. So my congratulations to you. I'm sure you'll get an unanimous confirmation by the Guam legislators. Thank you for extending yourself beyond the commitment you're already making to your village, to extend your services to the Guam Visitors Bureau and to our community. With that, thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to comment and ask a question of Mayor Paco. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Brown. And again, thank you, Mayor Paco, for what you've shared today and all that you are willing to do now to sit in this new position. I look forward to moving your nomination in the next session and confirming you along with my colleagues. With that, the committee hereby deems the appointment of the Honorable Rudy A. Paco Bayumaga Guahan to serve as member of the Guam Visitors Bureau Board of Directors to be duly heard. Siduous Masi. We will now continue with the next item on our agenda. It is Bill number 81-36 COR, introduced by Senators Tello-T. Titagui, Joanne Brown, and V. Anthony Atta, an act to amend section 9106 A and 9112, both of Article 1, Chapter 9, Division 1, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to membership and voting on the Guam Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. At this time, I would like to invite Senator Taitigui to deliver opening remarks as the prime sponsor of Bill number 81-36 COR.
Day, Madam Chair, and thank you for scheduling the public hearing for Bill 81-36 and for the opportunity to introduce my bill. And I'd like to thank my co-sponsors, Senator Joanne Brown and Senator Anthony Agnew. Madam Chair, Bill 8136, if approved, removes multiple voting rights for members of the Guam Visitors Bureau. Currently, Guam law allows the Guam Visitors Bureau members, defined as natural persons, partnerships, and corporations, to acquire multiple voting rights in elections of individuals to serve on the Guam Visitors Bureau board, on the basis of one vote for each annual contribution of $100. Contributing members may be present and may vote by proxy, provided written authorization is communicated in advance to the Guam Visitors Bureau. Madam Chair, I believe that the amendments proposed in Bill 81, the measure will help diversify membership on the Guam Visitors Bureau board, particularly at a time when unprecedented global public health pandemic has compelled communities such as ours in regaining and rebuilding our product. Moreover, a one vote per member system would provide a level playing field for all types of businesses that support our tourism industry. And it ensures they have a role in the decision-making process as well, notwithstanding the size of their company's bank account. With Bill 81, more entrepreneurs from across the industry, small businesses such as food vendors, crafters, musicians, recreation enthusiasts, and so much more will finally have an opportunity to serve on the Guam Visitors Bureau and provide ideas that prioritize Guam as a safe, family-friendly, and culturally rich destination. In closing, Madam Chair, Bill 81 removes the method of selecting members to serve on the Guam Visitors Bureau directors, which makes it difficult, if not impossible, for small businesses across our tourism industry to have a seat at the table. This proposal further eliminates opportunities for well-funded members of the Guam Visitors Bureau to monopolize or otherwise unfairly influence decisions involving the use of taxpayer resources, particularly revenues of the Tourist Attraction Fund. Madam Chair, I look forward to the testimonies on this measure, and I will work closely with our committee to make any amendments that may be necessary to move Bill 8136 forward. Studios Masi.
Thank you very much, Senator Taitigui. And I'll just go in order of those that I see on the screen who are here to testify for this bill. So first I see Mr. Roberto Franceschini.
Yes, correct.
Please go ahead. Begin.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much. And half a day and afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. My name is Roberto Franceschini, and I am a resident of Guam. Since 1978, when I formed the Roberto Franceschini Productions, I've been involved with managing and providing entertainment for the tourism industry of Guam. In particular, I was the exclusive entertainment agent for the Reef Hotel 9 years, Nick Hotel 14 years since opening, and the now defunct Okura Hotel for 5 years. The type of entertainment I produced and managed include magic shows, Polynesian show, on-demand shows for tourist groups, and hotels lounge act. Because I've been an entertainer myself, I believe that I have a deep understanding of the entertainment business, in particular, the one related to the tourism industry of Guam. I'm also a member of the GVB, and in order to offer my experience to the organization, I've tried in the past to be elected as a board member. Unfortunately, I realized that I had no chance. Due to the voting system now in effect that allow proxy votes to be counted, small companies like mine and single individuals like me have no possibility. In effect, big corporations can easily present proxy votes in big quantity in support to their selected candidate, while small company can't. I therefore recommend to change the GVB voting system and allow to consider proxy votes only in exceptional cases. If these changes are made, small companies and individuals who have demonstrated knowledge and experience in the field of the Guam tourism will have the possibility of being selected as board members and therefore provide a good service to the community of Guam. I therefore support Bill number 1-30. Sinceramente, thank you, Roberto Fracassini.
Thank you very much, sir. And now, Mr. Ken Haga.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address for my opinion, Chairman. I am Ken Haga of I'm running for the optional tour for more than 20 years. And then I always feel, because Roberto say something, we have our opinion as what I say, real tourism, which means not for the big corporation occupied for their way to the leading for their tourism, such as shopping Guam, and then the other way. But we have their own original Guam image of the tourism, but unfortunately, they are a so strong influence, and the influence addressed to the GVV office too. So therefore, we don't have any chance to open our mouths to give for their opinion. So therefore, we ask you to be a really big change for this structures for this. So this, however, I'm very glad, and I was so surprised that the senator bringing this bill, because this bill for many years we are wishing and then to be in a change and then wishing we have a chance to get involved for our tourism. Gracias. And then anyhow, I like to say we should avoid for the influence for the big corporation leading for their images. I like to say that our Guam has more than a variety to the uniqueness for this our islands, rather than the other destinations, such as history, such as culture, and the people of Guam, and of course, natures. So I like to say, because thanks for the pandemic, because now we have a chance to changing for the structure for our new image of the tourism. So therefore, I really, really support this bill, and this is what we need for the small business, the owners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Haga. Mr. Bill Nault.
Yes, thank you. Half a day, Chairwoman Senator Amanda Shelton, and the Speaker Terlaje, Senator Nelson, Senator Ada, Senator Brown, and Senator Kaitagri, and also to half a day and to the Chairman of GVB Board, Mr. Borinaga, and everybody here this hearing. Thank you for allowing me to submit my testimony for the bill number 8136. My name is William Nault. The friends call me Bill. I have been working in the industry, the tourism industry, since the 1984. I had my pleasure of serving on the island by serving on the board of director of the Guam Environment Protection Agency, as well as the Guam Visitors Bureau in the past years. I have been involved and have been and continue to be a contributing member of the Guam Visitors Bureau for over 30 years. As my capacity as I have been an assistant general manager for a tour company called RNC Tours Guam, Inc., as well as being a general manager for Rockstein Travel Guam, Inc., and then as the president of Untitled Travel Services, which is my own company now, which caters to inbound Japanese travelers. I am in support of this bill. 8136 to amend the membership eligibility process and the voting process of its 4 members to the board of directors. By amending these rules, it will provide more will and power to the common member and voter for this membership. The current method, which has actually caused individual members to simply give up on who they prefer or even to run for the position themselves by allowing members, both individuals and corporate, the same number of votes rather than being able to purchase more votes simply because they have the purchasing power. When a person or an entity can purchase votes because they possess the means to purchase more votes, the process tends to become more favored towards a certain interest, or rather than to provide a full and fair representation to the industry players. Tourism should not be politicized at most and should be placed in the care of those with the interest of the industry as its main interest and of its importance. Having a fair and meaningful election will bring about more who will be interested in becoming more involved and will create more ideas and solutions that will help our industry as well as our island. May a better person win concept will surely place better person to serve the industry. I support the idea of every eligible and most capable ones that should be the ones to help support the industry from within. The Bureau is our main source of marketing for our island to our core markets as well as to the world. We do need the best minds and we are to be, or we do need the best minds if we are to become the most favorite destination in the region to work, visit, and live. I have always believed in Guam in its tourism industry, and currently we are faced with one of the most difficult pandemics of our times, and we require everyone to work together to bring our markets back to Guam. By not combining our heads and ideas to overcome this pandemic, it will just take more time to recover. I do give my kudos and thanks to those who have raised their hands and volunteered their time and interest in taking up the positions at the board of directors for the Guam Visitors Bureau during such critical times. The industry is always looking to improve and move forward to a better Guam, and we look forward to a quick recovery and the restart of tourism back to our island. Thank you for this opportunity and to submit my testimony. Thank you, and Sizis Masi.
Sizis Masi, Mr. Nault. Mr. Yasuo Hoshino.
Have a day. This time I joining to, this is the first time I'm attending this kind of meeting, and but myself is working over 25 years on Guam, since the Pacific Hotel and other small hotel, and now the hotel is over 15 years. So as the hotel part, the current pandemic, the corona pandemic, making the disaster for the all hotels or restaurants or other the small business on Guam, and this will maybe to Mr. Naut mentioned that we need to have more idea to activating the all these small business as new style, and maybe it's more new way also. That part I'm really making suggestion for the push up these the new ideas and the new person. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Mr. Morinaga, the GVB board president.
Half a day, senators and honorable senators and the chairwoman, Senator Shelton, and the Speaker of the House, Terlaje. I have a written statement here, and I submitted my written statement to your office already, but let me have opportunity to read this to the people attending this public hearing. Okay. Half a day, senators. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on proposed bill number 81-36, which among other things seeks to alter voting rights of contributing members in election of elected directors of the board. GVB is a public, non-stock, non-profit membership corporation governed in accordance with applicable general corporation laws of Territory of Guam, 12 GCA subsection 9102. Thus, GVB relies on local corporate laws to conduct its business. We have reviewed the proposed legislation and comments and state that we have no information to suggest that any contributing member has been unfairly treated or policy position monopolized because of historical makeup of the board. GVB encourages productive participation of all members, and we are incentivized to do so because membership fee contribute to our operations. Moreover, we have no information to suggest that GVB's elected director voting process has resulted in some contributing members being treated less equally than other contributing members. GVB values the input and participation of all members. Similarly, we are unaware of any information suggesting that members' elections are not held strictest confidence. In fact, GVB elections are independently and confidentially counted by the CPA firm. No one within the agency reviews or counts ballots. We feel that the proposed language erodes members' confidence and unfairly discredit a process that has worked without any controversy for many years. GVB is inclusive of all businesses. If the bill's true intent is to ensure small business participation, GVB suggests that the legislature should consider requiring a small businesses member among one of the members appointed by the governor, the legislature, or the mayors, since those members constitute a majority of 8 of the 12 of the board. Another suggestion would be to provide a cumulative voting. Cumulative voting allows each member to quadruple voting power no matter the size of the member's business and gives flexibility to all members equally. With respect to proxy voting, we believe that eliminating it will make holding meetings and doing business more difficult. By statute, GVB's quorum requires participation of 50% voting members. Removing proxy voting will make quorums difficult to achieve given the large number of members. We also believe that eliminating proxy voting will be counter to the legislature's recent efforts to use technology to become more efficient. Additionally, proxy voting is allowed under Guam's corporate laws and is used by corporations all over the world. Removing proxy voting will only serve to restrain GVB. Finally, we ask that the legislature reconsider that contributing members make the payments only in cash. Cash requires extra measures to ensure security and control. Electronic payment is more secure, more readily audible, and consistent with the legislature's effort to improve government efficiency and transparency. Thank you again for allowing the opportunity to comment on the proposed bill. We ask that we be afforded with the opportunity to discuss our points further should you have any questions. Jesus Masi, Milton Morinaga, Chairman of the Board of GVB. Thank you.
Jesus Masi, Mr. Morinaga, and Jesus Masi to all those who have testified today. I'd like to open the floor for any questions from the panel of senators who are here today, beginning with the sponsor of the bill. Senator Terlaje, would you like to go now, or would you like to save it for your closing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to save it for my closing. Thank you so much.
Right. No problem. Senator Nelson, any questions?
No, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out here today and giving testimony and also providing additional recommendations on how to improve the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Nelson. Senator Ada.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just like to thank everyone for their testimonies today. I'd like to thank the author for introducing this piece of legislation and asking me to co-sponsor, and I look forward to this being debated on our legislative floor and going up for a vote. I believe that when we try to create an equal playing field, that becomes a win-win situation for everyone. And I think that's what this piece of legislation looks to do, is just to create that field. And we can always work on the amendments or any suggestions that has been brought up, but I look forward to it. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the sponsor.
Thank you very much, Senator Ada. Speaker Terlaje, any questions?
Yes, if I could ask, so it sounds like, so GVB, Mr. Morinaga, Mr. Chairman, has submitted testimony in favor of the status quo with some suggestions that if we are going to change it, that we mandate a small business member be one of those that is appointed. Do you classify currently your members as small business or large business or anything like that?
I'm sorry.
Do you?
Repeat that question?
Yes. Do you classify your members currently as small business members or large business members or any kind of categories?
We don't classify, but the current members of the board of directors that we elected is represented by small business themselves.
Yeah, I guess my understanding of the term small businesses on Guam is pretty much all 90% of businesses. That's what we've learned through this pandemic, when they use the word small business for different things. And so relatively, it includes some of the larger businesses on Guam in the term small business. But so I just think if we're going to start doing something like that, where we categorize businesses, then we're going to have to be very clear what we mean by that. And for example, Mr. Oshino from the Reef Hotel, thank all of you for your testimony. Mr. Oshino, you described the Guam Reef Hotel as a small hotel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So I am not an expert in, which ones are the big businesses or the small businesses. And I guess that's what I would have issue with, is like, how do we, so maybe, I don't know, if you could describe for us right now, Mr. Morinaga, how the voting system, I guess in detail, what do they mean by, how do members get elected? And then when are the proxy votes used in that election, or are they used in GVB board decisions? Or is it in the election of members?
We have 4 slots in elected members from the members, and that's where people represent to get to vote into that open slot by buying a membership. And I said earlier, the proxy is one of the means that if they cannot show up for the voting day of the voting, they give the proxy to their entrusted person to vote on whoever they would like to get into the board. And also, like earlier, like I said, business is business, no matter large or small. If they need to speak out what they want to say, they are welcome to be a committee member, because we have a committee, so different sections of the committee. One is destination, one is culture, one is Japan marketing, Korean marketing. So there's committees that if anybody wants to attend or sit on and to say what they want to be heard, there's opportunity for the members of all different sizes to make that statement.
So you're suggesting that small businesses can have a better impact if they join a committee and they get an equal vote on the committees. Is that right? If they're a member.
Yeah. In a committee level, if they have some suggestion or some issues that they need to be addressed on the committee, they are open to do that. We're not restricting any of the people not speaking at the committee level.
Yeah, I've seen this in practice where the committees are really making majority of the decisions, and so it is advantageous to be on those committees, and then they take it to the board, and it's kind of rare if the board would disagree with a committee's recommendation at that point. But so in the election, it's per person and not by company at all right now. For example, why is the member from duty free always described as the duty free representative as opposed to just that person?
Well, I mean, of course, the corporate buys their membership to be in an equal play field where they want to be represented. So there's a large stake involved here too. But the thing is, that's why we suggested the cumulative vote, meaning that right now you can have double your voting rights. So you don't have to solicit proxy or whatever. If you buy 10 vote, that becomes a 40 vote. And if you have a person that you really want to support, you can give that 40 vote into that person. So it's a better system if you do a cumulative voting. That gives a better chance for people who cannot purchase or if someone who has little voting rights has a better chance of getting their voice heard, whoever they want to enroll into the board.
All right, bear with me. I'm just going to ask a couple more questions, Madam Chair, if you don't mind. So for example, in the election, does duty free as a company, when they purchase membership, get one vote, or does each, or you're saying they can buy more votes, or do I have to assign membership to a person? Is it by person or is it by company?
Well, you're allowed up to 10 votes per person to purchase. That's $1,000. So that's a max that each person can hold. As a corporation, it's a 10 vote. So it doesn't matter which company you are. If you you're allowed only up to 10 vote that you can buy, or 10 membership per person.
Okay, so does that mean, sorry, I'm just using duty free as an example. I hope nobody gets offended, but just they've been on the board for a very long time. So I think they're a good example. Is it always an individual who you are assigning membership to, and that person could buy 10 votes, but so we could have 400 employees from duty free also have membership?
If you so be it, but I don't know how they do it, but a lot of the company, they just have the executives or whatever buy in, and everybody has a budget of how much they're going to buy, and they're not going to buy hundreds of thousands of dollars for a membership. But that's why we have a membership numbers of like 200, 300 people, in which everybody pays in $100 or $50. 50 membership, or depending on the size of the company. So that's why we're pushing to do a cumulative vote. So it really doesn't matter if you have that much of voting. If there's always a full slots that's available to get in. And so the rest, our voting is very minority in the board level as an elected member. The majority is either being appointed or nominated by the legislature or the governor. So the voice might be there, but if the other board members are not being heard, or they can't block whatever the motion they have by these elected people. So that's why I suggested in my letter too, is that if that's the case, then the legislature, the governor, or whoever should, if the definition of small business is the big issue here. What do you mean by small business? So that's why we need to define more clearly, what are we talking about, income level, or are we talking about what kind of stakeholders are we talking about here?
Yeah, I agree. Does it depend on number of employees or income level? Yeah, that's not clear for me. But what about So in the last election, of the 4 that were elected, what was the number of the lowest vote getter? I'm trying to get at what are we looking at currently as the minimum necessary to get voted onto the board?
Frankly, I don't have the purview to have what kind of numbers each got. That is confidential at this level. I don't know, but it's the CPA will decide who got the first top 4 to get elected in. So if there's only 4 slots open, then only 4 people get in. If there's 5 people, then they choose which 4 will get in. Right?
Okay. I'm just curious what we're talking about in an amount. So if you have to buy each vote, how much does that cost? And so if the income of a business is a factor, or the income of an individual who wants to be a member is a factor. Yeah.
Right. So each member, to be a member of the GVB, you just have to pay $100 to become a member. At the same time, you get 1 vote on the year of the voting.
All right. Is that, Madam Chair, is there anyone who knows how much votes are necessary to get elected on the board currently? Or have that information? I don't. Maybe so, Mr. Bernard, that's not available. It's with the CPA, but maybe I'm going to just make a formal request of the board. If those numbers are public, I'd like to see them. At least just a general. Thank you.
Yes, we'll request that. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think the next will be Senator Brown.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. I did want to ask for the other participants that testified this afternoon who feel perhaps from their perspective, their views of tourism have not been represented by the current structure of the GVB board. What are their thoughts to elaborate further on the testimony provided? How do you think that has not been part of the agenda for the Guam Visitors Bureau? Again, any one of the participants this afternoon that have provided testimony, if they could elaborate further on that.
Yes, maybe. Okay, Mr. Roberto. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wanted to add up something. Basically, in the best interest of the GVB, it would be to listen to people that have experience in the field, that they're small or big. I know this is open to everybody, but unfortunately, the voting system is a little bit tricky. When I try to be voted as a member, of course, I didn't win. I was kind of promised that I was being inserted in a committee, but nobody ever contacted me. So what I'm saying, I do have the experience. I proved that to have the experience. I've been in this field a long time. Give the chance, or anybody, doesn't matter how big they are, but they have the experience to contribute to the policy of the GVB. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, so I would also like to elaborate in regards to Senator Brown. Yes, I could for over the years that I have I guess attended the annual meetings and the elections, has seen that there were many people who had actually ran but were not fortunate enough to be elected, and due to I would say the biggest contributing factor was that the voting, I wouldn't say it is controlled, or I wouldn't say it was manipulated, because the current system allows for such methods, whereas the Speaker Terlaje was mentioning, and that one business, if you have 100 employees and you have the method to buy not just one vote for $100, but 10 votes for $1,000, then you are capable of doing so. So if you have 100 employees and you want to spend $1,000 times 100 of your employees, you can actually put that much vote into the the membership. And so, going back to even Speaker Terlaje's question about how many votes does it take to actually win an election, it really depends on how many total votes total members have purchased the votes. Right. So, for example, if this year not so many people have purchased the votes, then it wouldn't take much to. You just need a little more than everybody else to win the votes. But if it is a what you call a close race, where several entities were able to purchase more votes because of their budget availability, then the other person or other group will just have to spend a little bit more to make sure that they have a little bit more, right? So for those who do not have the budget, basically they just won't be playing in the same playground, basically. And so that I would say, in regards to that, even if you do have a well-experienced and long-time experienced person as Mr. Roberto and other members in the industry, it just wouldn't make sense for them to actually even spend a few $1,000s to buy a few thousand votes for their employees, because eventually there's going to be more with the people who will and is capable of purchasing or has the budget to do so. Yeah. I hope that explained a little bit.
I certainly appreciate your input. Is there anyone else that would like to comment on that? If not, Madam Chair, I certainly appreciate the testimony that has been provided this afternoon. I mean, as we look at this issue, I think we just want to ensure there's fairness in the process. And, even the thought of having to buy votes kind of gives me a little bit of discomfort. We certainly want to ensure that the representation on the visitor industry is reflective of all members and contributing members, and have the opportunity to have different points of view brought to the table. So we don't have a monopoly of ideas that are limited in terms of our tourism industry, which, while we've been, adversely impacted by this pandemic, we all recognize as a major contributor to our island economy. And I think the more players at the table that can interject ideas can continue to improve our tourism industry. I mean, obviously, when you have vested interest, and there's been vested interest for many years, that limits the experience pool and the interest pool that can come to the table and influence policy that's made for the Guam Visitors Bureau. And so that's one of the reasons I certainly co-sponsored this bill with Senator Tello and with Senator Ada. I think we need to have a greater transparency in the voting process, be it the Guam Visitors Bureau or any other entity that's involved with what essentially is public resources and public assets. And certainly, while the money generated that's reinvested back in the Guam Visitors Bureau is from our visitor industry, but it's essentially invested here for our people. And I'm certainly supportive of this legislation. I do want to thank everyone who participated today and provided their input, and thank you for responding to my question. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Brown. Senator Chidegui, you can have an opportunity for questions and your closing.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Not so much, well, unless Milton wants to answer some of this, but when at my time at the Guam Visitors Bureau as a Deputy General Manager during an election year, this was brought to my attention, and this is the reason why I introduced this legislation. Because I saw that there was a bit of you would say, advantage for those companies who had deeper pockets than those smaller businesses. And to be able to, and you're seeing almost the same exact people every election to be sitting on the board. I'm not saying that they're not worthy of that position, that they don't bring good ideas to the table. Absolutely they do. But I think we need a diversity, especially with the Guam Visitors Bureau that receives, $23 million a year from the general fund, from our, tourist attraction fund, which is basically taxpayers' money. They receive this money. It's a corporation, yes, but a corporation that basically is solely reliant upon the government of Guam to fund a public corporation. The amount of money that's received from the Guam Visitors Bureau through the membership is quite, concerning too, because during the non-voting years, voting year, membership numbers are very, very low, very low. And then when the year comes, it's a voting time, all of a sudden the membership is raised. So, I mean, there's so many, almost 3 times as much as the prior year that was a non-voting year. And it makes you wonder, who are these people? Then when the following year comes, you know, their dues of $100 or up to $1,000 are nowhere in sight until it's a voting year. So it makes you wonder, who are these individuals? Now, while I was there at the Guam Visitors Bureau, one thing that was very disturbing was that, granted, we have I think it was Ernst & Young at the time that did the voting count and put it together. But what I found disturbing was that the ballots were numbered. And when you came in, you signed your name to the particular number of the ballot that you're taking. And I thought, well, that way you can actually tell who you voted for. If someone were to look at that, you could actually see. Now, I don't know if that's happening now, but I quickly brought this up to the general manager at the time, that this should not be happening. There should be no numbers on a ballot. And then when you sign in, you sign your name. Okay, I have ballot number 23, and this is my name on number 23, to actually see who voted for that individual. So I'm hoping that practice is not in place. And if it is, it definitely should stop right now. So I hope, Chairman, if you can look into that, to make sure that that's not happening right now. But it did happen when I was at my time at the Guam Visitors Bureau. As far as cash is concerned, I definitely hear you. And if it makes it easier to do electronic cash, I didn't put anything like that really on the bill, but if that's a suggestion, we'll incorporate that as well. Proxy voting seems to be a very difficult, sorry about that. Proxy voting seems to be one of the areas that also allows some type of discrepancy with regards to, excuse me. Sorry about that. It's a quick interrupt, sorry. Proxy voting is something that is very concerning. You have an individual who comes to on election day with 30, 40 votes, saying that they were given the proxy to vote for who they wanted to is very disturbing. I mean, even as elected officials, we all get one person gets one vote. Even for the president of the United States, everyone just gets one vote, one vote. Doesn't matter if you're Bill Gates or if you're, Telena, you just get one vote. And that's something I think we should all be able to practice, and continue. And I think will bring fairness and a level of playing field, very equal on that perspective. And lastly, Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I'd like to just read this testimony from Monte Mesa and to end my comments. Hafaday, Chairwoman, Madam Senator Amanda Shelton, and committee members. My name is Monte Mesa, a current contributing member of the Guam Visitors Bureau membership for over 30 years. I'm also currently the general manager of the Guam Premium Outlet and Tumon Sands Plaza Shopping Centers. I support the intent of Bill 81-36 to amend the current membership eligibility application process and the voting process for the 4 elected GVB membership representatives for the board of directors. I support the GVB membership fee eligibility to not more than $100 annually to any natural person, artificial person, including but not limited to corporation, partnership, association, councils, or any other private entity. This will allow the Guam Visitors Bureau general membership to have level playing field for each member to have one vote for each of their eligible membership application. At the current GVB membership eligibility, any member can purchase up to 10 membership per person or per business at $1,000 each to garner 10 or more votes each election year. This limits any GVB member from being able to have the opportunity to run and serve on the GVB board directors membership election if they do not purchase more than one membership of $100 per each election year. The results of the Guam Visitors Bureau membership board of directors each election year should not be controlled by a few persons or few businesses who have purchased up to 10 memberships or more to control the voting outcome of the Guam Visitors Bureau membership directors election. This election outcome does not truly represent the broader interest of the Guam Visitors Bureau general membership, but only allows a few members to control the elections of the 4 membership representatives each election year. Therefore, the Guam Visitors Bureau membership application process should be amended, and that each GVB member has 1 vote per each eligible GVB membership applied for. This makes it more level. It makes it a more level playing field for all GVB members. We hope to see that in the next GVB membership board of directors election, the GVB general membership can have a broader representation of candidates running for the GVB elected board of directors and having an equal opportunity to be elected for years to come. I appreciate the opportunity to submit recommendations to the committee members in support of an amendment that the intent of Bill 81-36. Best regards, Monty Mason. I greatly appreciate the opportunity, Madam Chair, and thank you so much for hearing this bill. We've been called by 7 people who have not been able to make it this afternoon, but they will be submitting their testimonies. I greatly appreciate everyone who's here today who took the time out. And Sujus Masi, be safe. Thank you.
Masi, Senator Taitagui, we will continue to hear testimony for the bill, accept testimony for the bill through the committee. They can email the testimony to our office at Office of Senator Shelton at guamlegislature.org or deliver it here to the Guam Congress building. And thank you all to all who have testified today on this bill. We appreciate your time, your suggestions, and your input. The Committee on Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens hereby considers Bill number 81-36 COR duly heard. Sujus Masi. Now we will move on to the next item on our agenda, Bill number 95-36 LS, introduced by myself, Senator Amanda Shelton, Jose Pedo Terlaje, Clinton E. Ridgell, Tina Rose Muña Barnes, Telena Cruz Nelson, V. Anthony Atta, James C. Moylan, Frank Blas Jr., and Christopher M. Dueñas. An act to amend section 77104.1 of Article 1, Chapter 77, Title 21, Guam Code Annotated, relative to including all peace officers in the enforcement of alcohol-free zones. Bill number 95-36 LS seeks to allow any peace officer as defined under Guam's Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission law to enforce the alcohol-free zones AFZ provisions and issue citations and fines to violators. Our parks are an essential part of our island and our culture. As such, they are integral to our community's well-being. They provide a tangible reflection of the quality of life in our community, most especially during this pandemic. Our parks offer safe outdoor recreational places for our families, social groups, and individuals of all ages and economic statuses. Over the last year, we have seen an increase in the use of our public parks as families found solace and enjoyment in nature during these difficult times. However, due to the rise in activity, our community requires more human resources to monitor these areas and provide citations for safety if needed. As the law currently stands, officers from the Department of Parks and Recreation, Park Patrol Division, and the Guam Police Department are responsible for enforcing the alcohol-free zones in the parks. And we've already seen this collaboration that Bill 95 seeks to strengthen among our public safety partners. During the pandemic, different law enforcement agencies collaborated to fill gaps in our public safety force, and this measure seeks to solidify these partnerships. Under Bill 95, alcohol-free zones can be enforced by trained peace officers from the following agencies: the Department of Parks and Recreation and the Guam Police Department, the Guam Fire Department, Guam Airport Police, Guam Port Authority Police, Department of Corrections, Department of Youth Affairs, Department of Agriculture, Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency, Office of the Attorney General, and Guam Marshals and Judiciary Probation Officers. I want to thank my colleagues who have signed on as co-sponsors of Bill 95, Senator Terlaje, Senator Ridgell, Vice Speaker Muña Barnes, Senator Nelson, Senator Ada, Senator Moylan, Senator Blas, Senator Dueñas, as well as all our partners at DPR and their Park Patrol Division, which is very small, who continue to do their best to keep our parks safe and clean for our community to enjoy. As the island returns to normalcy, the maintenance and safety of our public parks lie at the heart of our recovery efforts. And Bill 95 will augment the workforce capable of enforcing our rules and will dramatically increase public safety to keep our parks intact. It's this kind of collaboration that we're going to empower our law enforcement agencies to be able to have and to solidify these partnerships that will help keep our parks and our public spaces a safer place. I look forward to the discussion today, and I welcome Officer Pedro Lizama from the Department of Parks and Recreation Park Patrol Division to give testimony now.
Hafa Senators, Speaker Terlaje, my name is Officer Lizama, Officer Pedro Lizama with Department of Parks and Recreation. I'm here on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation and Director Roque Alcantara to give testimony in support of Bill 95. I'd like to thank Senator Shelton for bringing forward this bill. This bill will go a long way in assisting us with the enforcement of the alcohol-free zones. Currently, as you are all aware, there are only 2 Park Patrol officers, for the patrol of all the island's parks. So, that leaves huge gaps in our patrol and our response for various issues, not just alcohol-free zone. So this bill will help us in, plugging those gaps and those holes in our scheduling, our manpower for the enforcement of alcohol-free zones. That's all the testimony I have to give. And I'd like to thank all the co-sponsors of the bill for coming out in support of Senator Shelton.
Thank you very much, Officer Lizama. I'd just like to speak a little bit about how this bill came to be after meeting with the Department of Parks and Recreation and also meeting with the Department of Agriculture conservation officers who shared that they were all part of this task force during the time of the pandemic and helping to enforce laws and throughout that time, really supporting on each other and leaning on each other throughout the pandemic. And they realized that many of these law enforcement agencies also patrol, they stop by the parks or they're in the area or patrolling the seashore, and they would see violations at the parks, but they were not authorized under the law to cite anyone or to enforce the law there. And so we came up with this policy proposal here today. And so we look forward to being able to give our law enforcement officers, especially the Department of Parks and Recreation, our Park Patrol Division, a little more support. I know we've been talking about it in many different ways, the reservist program, but this is just another added layer to help our parks be a safer place. So colleagues, if you have any questions for Officer Lizama, Speaker Terlaje, if you'd like to begin.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. And Officer Lizama, thank you for your testimony. I do have a couple questions, if you don't mind. So I totally support this bill. When you look at it, it makes us wonder, why didn't we do this earlier? And why did we limit it in the first place? Because it makes so much sense. So I think it's a good bill, great bill. And I do want to help you officers as much as possible. So that's my question. It's we continue to hear this, talk about it's not my jurisdiction, it's not my jurisdiction, it's their jurisdiction, and we're relying on 2 officers to take care of this entire island. Would you be, I mean, do you think we need to do this in more areas where we share jurisdictions, or do you think you need to be specially trained conservation officers in order to enforce what happens in the marine preserves, for example? Let me just give you an example. I was there. I'm not sure who gets to enforce those right now, but I was there one day and some motor vehicle comes into the marine preserve at Ipao, and the lifeguards couldn't do anything about it except tell them, you better turn around or you're gonna, we're gonna call the police and something's gonna happen to you. And, but they couldn't stop them. And then they had safety officers there from GBB, hired private contracted safety officers, but they didn't seem to have any jurisdiction over it. And so I guess I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. It's a little bit outside this bill, but I want to know, how far can we go with this type of thing? And what's your recommendation?
Well, thank you, Speaker, for bringing this issue up. As far as speaking to outside of the bill and what the bill proposes, I think those are ideas that we have to engage the professionals of their jurisdictions on to the extent of how much outside law enforcement can come and help them. But as to this bill, I can speak to my personal experience, and as Senator Amanda has mentioned, we did have a task force, and during that task force, we encountered that issue where we were given the additional duties of enforcing the alcohol-free zone and enforcing, the drinking violations occurring there. So we did, the conservation officers brought up a good point when we reviewed the statute. It did not include them in the enforcement and the authority powers there. So the only ones that were allowed to do the enforcement and issue the citations were Park Patrol and GPD. So, we had this task force, yet, we were handicapped because some of the members couldn't do what the mission was calling for. So that's my first.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Officer Lezama, what is your jurisdiction right now? Do you have exclusive jurisdictions for violations of marine preserve rules?
Well, in specific to the marine preserves, that would fall under the jurisdiction of the Department of Agriculture's conservation officers section. Yeah, so they're the ones that basically that's their title, that's their that's basically their job.
Oh, so what happens if you are the one who encounters a violation there? You have to call them and wait for them to show up?
Well, not necessarily. For example, there are certain areas where we do have concurrent jurisdiction. So like we do have parks in preserves. For example, there'd be Fisheye Park. That's which, we also know as Tacungan. And there's also Ipao Beach Park and Matapeng Beach as well. So those are located in the Tumon Preserve. So we do observe somebody violating the preserve laws or the rules and regs. If we're not certain if it's a violation, then of course we'll contact Department of Agriculture and get guidance from them. But if it is happening while we're there, then of course we will act. Whether we take an arrest or pull the guy over and say, hey, look, are you aware of that you're violating the law here? Or, whether we give counseling, that's our discretion.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Officer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Terlaje. Senator Nelson, any questions?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just want to say that I support this bill, and I thank all of the officers at DPR for the enormous amount of work that they do and the great job that they have been doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. Senator Ada.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for introducing this legislation and asking me to be a co-sponsor. Officer Lezama, I know that the task is just tremendous when you got so many parks to look over from north to south, and perhaps, Madam Chair, maybe just not just the alcohol-free zones, but perhaps looking into joint jurisdictions on enforcement of parks rules and regulations. For example, I see the park rangers out there when it comes to All Souls Day being at Tiguat Cemetery and Veterans Cemetery, and they're just so short-handed that if we're able to get other law enforcement agencies to assist them, then I think looking at that as well, not just alcohol enforcement, but let's see what we can do to continue to assist our law enforcement officers to help one another by enforcing the rules and regulations, and knowing that each other can respond to something. That if the park rangers are not there, then GPD or even the DYA folks that are in the area, they can just radio and say, we need assistance here. But just something to keep an eye on, and let's look how we can think outside the box to help our law enforcement agencies. But thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity again. Thank you, Officer Lizama.
Thank you, Senator Ada. There is certainly a lot of room for collaboration and support to give each other throughout the law enforcement community. So I appreciate that. Senator Tidegly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My internet is not very good, so I hope I can get through. That's why I've been bouncing from one room to another. But can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Okay, Senator Ada made such a great point, not just limiting to just places that you do now, but alcohol-free zones. And thank you first, Officer Lizama. I've spoken to you many times on other occasions on certain questions that I had, and you've been very good at not only answering them, but if you didn't have the answer, you went and you looked for it, and going through the books and the code for me. So I greatly appreciate the continued collaboration we have with each other in my office and yours as well. But are there areas that Senator Ada was talking about? Are there any beach areas that are considered very popular where people go that is not considered a park?
Yes, certainly. There are many beach areas that are popular that are not within the Department of Parks and Recreation park inventory. For example, just off the top of my head, I could say Jimmy D's area. That beach area is not part of our park area. What else? Fajita Road. Are you familiar with that beach area there? Fajita Road. Yeah, that's not a park area. Pretty much majority of the shoreline of Tumon, with the exception of Ipal Matapeng, those are not considered park areas as well. Yeah.
But are they considered still under the jurisdiction of the government of Guam?
Yes, there's a gray area there because I think they're covered under the Territorial Seashore Protection Act. I mean, we can get into that, but it's going to take a while if to break it all down. But yeah, it's basically the beach area that we had just mentioned is covered under the Territorial Seashore Protection Act.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that actually, because there was one such beach that actually has a trash can that's made of cement. So it's obvious, it looks like it almost looks like it's a park, and it's a little bit further down from Jimmy. And it looks like it's a park area because of this cement trash bin that's there. And then you sometimes the LMS that is contracted with the Guam Visitors Bureau that comes and picks up the trash.
Right.
So in that situation, do you have the jurisdiction to go into that area and actually, if someone is doing anything violating any kind of rules or regulations, do you have the jurisdiction to go in there too as well?
No, we do not. I know the area you're speaking about, and we have many areas like that throughout the island. Like I said, they look like beaches, they look like part of the beach, but under the Territorial Seashore Protection Act, they fall outside of the beach area too. So,
if there's something happening in that area, then our best bet is to just call GPD instead of Department of Parks and like the Rangers, like you guys. So it's right.
That would fall under the jurisdiction of the Guam Police Department, which they have jurisdiction over all the property of Guam, right?
Okay, well, thank you for that. And thank you for all your hard work with just there's still just only 2 of you right now that are overseeing the parks, or do we have that third person?
No, that's correct, Senator. There's still just 2 of us.
Ooh, okay. Well, hopefully we can work on something. I know our oversight chair is doing her best diligently to try and get somebody else in your position. I know she has been working very hard on it, and I'd like to do anything I can to, Madam Chair, if there's anything I can do to assist to help in that area. But it might be something else we might want to look at, because there are some places that look like parks, but they're not. And to give them the ability to go in there and put out citations or assist when the public needs it, especially in the safety issue. So thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity. And looking forward to being a co-sponsor on this bill too as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Senator Titlegy. Thank you. And now we'll move on to Senator Brown.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I don't have any questions. Just thanking Officer Lizama again for his participation, considering the workload him and his fellow park ranger have in trying to do their due diligence and their work at our numerous parks, of which they are incredibly understaffed. I'm hopeful that in our new budget deliberations, while I'm certainly conservative with a budget, I definitely would like to see more support provided to our officers, our park rangers, because it's very difficult for them, just the 2 of them, to do the tremendous job that we've tasked them to do. Other than that, I certainly will be supportive of multiplying the enforcement capability with the passage of this bill, and would hopeful also be considered as a co-sponsor. With that, Madam Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity to comment.
Absolutely, Senator Brown. Thank you very much. And Senator Lozama, Officer Lozama, before we conclude, I just wanted to ask you if you can speak about the system you have for citations. Will it be easy enough for you and your law enforcement partners to have a shared system to cite people at the parks? Can you just speak to that a little bit?
Yes, the current system that we have right now is basically our citations are out of the court. They're issued to us from the court, and the court handles all the processing for citations. So just like you would for a traffic violation or litter citation or any other court issued citation, that's how these things would be processed. And it's used by almost all the law enforcement agencies that I'm aware of.
Okay, great. That's good to know that we won't be tacking on any additional assignments to help us get all on the same page here to allow the other law enforcement agencies to do this. So we already have the system in place. I appreciate that. And of course, your time here today, your input to help us draft this bill and get this through, and to all the partners at DPR and our other law enforcement agencies who we know are ready and willing to step up to help the Department of Parks and Recreation, our Park Patrol Division, keep our parks safe. Thank you very much. And with that, the committee has duly heard this bill number 95-36, and we of course will continue to accept testimony here at our office. You can email testimony to the office of Senator Shelton at guamlegislature.org, or deliver your handwritten testimony to the Guam Congress building. This public hearing is now adjourned, and the time is 2:46 p.m. Seduas Masi, everyone. Have a great weekend and please be safe.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Bye-bye.